After watching the opening week of Stage 4 and the introduction of the 2-2-2 Roadhog, I've seen many people ask why so many Overwatch League players and teams are prioritising running Mei as a member of their compositions. So today, I hope to somewhat answer that question by utilising the Overwatch League viewer a bit to focus in on how and why she's being used, highlighting the strengths that can be found in different aspects of her kit. Whilst her increased playtime comes to the surprise of Overwatch League viewers, her impact and effectiveness has been starting to make waves even before 2-2-2 Roadhog was announced, especially in this season of European contenders. As Clockwork Vendetta came into the spotlight with their unique composition, Ricky's Mei was an integral part of it, and the success he and his team achieved with her has led to a complete transition in style from the best sides in Europe at the moment, like Team Gigante and HSL Esports, that put aside GOATs for the most part in favour of running these bunker-style comps, with Roadhog and IRISA and Torbjorn accompanying the Mei. At the moment, following 2-2-2's introduction, the strongest tank line in most instances is IRISA and Roadhog, and it's Mei's impact with and around them that makes us such a strong pick at the moment. Aside from their very strong sustainability, the other primary impact this tank duo can have is through the use of the pull-port combo, by which the IRISA uses Halt, whilst the Roadhog tries to time his hook ability to catch an enemy player being sucked in by the Halt to execute a high success rate pull onto a target, but in most cases can be killed in one shot if they're a squishy, or at least be focused down quickly, since they'll be out of position and away from the protection of the rest of their team. So how does Mei fit into all this? First, in terms of offense, she can place a wall directly behind the target that's being pulled in through this combo, preventing them from being able to escape, whilst also shutting off any direct means of support being provided in a rescue attempt to this now trapped target, thus almost always guaranteeing a kill at the start of a teamfight. Not forgetting that Mei can also slow and freeze this trapped opponent in place as well with her primary fire. Of course, with this strategy being practiced by the pros heavily, it should come as no surprise that they've already learned a defensive strategy that can weaken the effectiveness of the Halt Hook combo, if not completely nullifying it altogether. Plenty of teams now will simply wait for the Halt to be fired out by the enemy IRISA, signalling that an attempt at this combo is potentially coming, and then they'll use their Mei wall to wall off the space just in front of the enemy Roadhog, who in most instances is alongside his IRISA. Depending on how early it's used, this wall either blocks the Hog's hook attempt entirely, or instead breaks the hook if it does initially land onto a target, preventing the team from losing one of the first picks in the teamfight, as perfectly displayed in this rather entertaining few moments from the series between Boston and Guangzhou. It goes without saying, this isn't foolproof either way, with some Mei players mistiming their wall usage or being baited to use it early, allowing their combo to still find success. But in many ways, this interplay and mini metagame has become the Stage 4 version of the play around Grav Bomb we saw earlier in the season, with some teams prioritising one use over another. Although gradually teams are looking to use the wall more defensively than offensively, which traditionally was the preferred option. However, another strategy offensively can be employed, which potentially counters this defensive counterplay that we've seen for the most part last week, but so far we haven't yet seen it in the Overwatch League. This strategy is to hide the pull-port combo behind a wall to catch the enemy off guard. I noticed this for the first time when I reviewed the Clockwork Vendetta vs Team Gigante series, and it's something that I expect may be used by some OWL teams moving forward. The first thing the wall does is block line of sight just in front of the enemy's shield. Then the attacking side moves in a lot closer, so they're up against the wall, and from this point they execute a short-range pull-port combo, rather than its normal mid-range version. The brilliance about this is that due to the angle that the target is pulled in at, as well as how short the distance is that they are being pulled over, it makes it almost impossible for an opposing Mei to react in time and break the hook, and not forgetting that the wall was already there, so it can do the same job as I explained in my first example. And it wouldn't surprise me to see this being utilised over the coming weeks, particularly on payload maps, where there are a lot of narrow choke points like Havana, Kings Row, and Hollywood, where this strategy will work to its best. As we can already see, just her wall ability alone has so much utility and strength with how teams are mainly playing 2-2-2 at the moment, but she can also make other major contributions as well. Her wall can also be used simply as a tool to relieve pressure onto your team's barrier, whilst also breaking line of sight of the enemy team, allowing you to hide your direction of attack. Not forgetting the wall can also be used to help your team get onto high ground, which some heroes can't necessarily get up to, like on the first point of Anubis. And the wall can even be used to lift enemies above the protection of a shield to be focused down and killed, or even as part of a combo with a Diva Bomb, as we can see in this example here. Let's now move away from her wall ability and look at why the rest of her kit has also helped with her being played so much this stage. Let's start with her Blizzard. This ability is one that's often underappreciated, as it's very impactful, particularly around objectives. Unless you have the abilities that are able to nullify its effects, you'll end up frozen and be able to be easily focused down and killed, which is a nightmare, as we can see at the end of Boston's overtime attack here, as they had no choice but to remain in it and keep the payload contested. By the same token, it can also be used in an effective zoning ultimate to keep enemies out of an area of an objective, allowing your side to stabilise or funnel engagement into an area you'd prefer to be fighting in. In terms of her types of fire, her primary freeze gun helps Mei to lock down individual targets that stray into the open, away from their teams, with a good example of its use being when a tank target is caught in the pull-port combo, with the fact that they are then slowed and frozen, preventing them from escaping. Mei's secondary fire is surprisingly really strong as well, and arguably one of the strongest aspects of her kit, aside from her wall ability. It has a very high accuracy, but more importantly, zero fall-off damage, making it brilliant to continually pressure opposition with shields. But also more importantly, as shown here by Stratus, it can be used to apply pressure onto snipers on the high ground in an effective manner, with other heroes as part of these comps usually unable to contest these sorts of positions. Lastly, there's her Iceblock, which of course gives her greater sustainability and ability to stall, which are both assets now that players can't necessarily switch onto heroes, but are great at doing this. But more importantly, when activating this ability, Mei is able to provide her side with further protection from the pull-port combo, as she can stand in front of everyone being pulled in by the Holt and block the hook, using it as an alternative if her wall is just being used and is on cooldown. We've seen a number of pros play her already in the first week of Stage 4, and she looks likely to have one of the highest pick rates of any damage hero at the moment, thanks to the benefits she brings, which I covered in this video. One thing I need to be clear on is that she's not faultless. It's become very apparent that, like with some players' use of Graviton Surge earlier this season, some Mei players are terrible at telegraphing when they're using their Blizzard ultimate, which certain divas, such as gods, have punished their opponents heavily for. Also, while she can apply pressure to snipers on the high ground more easily than other members of the compositions she's normally run with, I'm not at all saying she's good as another sniper, and more often than not will likely be killed if they overexert this pressure and play too aggressively. In the next coming weeks it'll be interesting to see whether this trend of her being played quite so much continues, and at the same time to see how different teams adapt her utility within the 2-2-2 mini metagame of the pull-port combination. So I hope you found this video useful, and I'd like to thank you for watching. Let me know if you enjoy these analytical types of videos, and if so, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter for continuing Overwatch League coverage and content. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.